Good evening. After 28 hours in custody, the suspect in the murder of Aiia has fronted court. Tegan Dolling is there. Tegan, what has he been charged with?
Blake, 20-year-old Cody Herman has been charged with 1 count of rape and 1 count of murder. During his very brief court appearance today, he sat in the dock wearing a green T-shirt and he stared at the ground. He only spoke once when the magistrate asked if he was aware of his 2 charges. He replied yes. A mental health assessment was requested and he'll be back in court on Monday.
With a number of aliases and no home address, it took 3 days for police to track down Cody Herman.
That's just me putting myself on the line because I will die for you in any fight.
The 20-year-old wannabe rapper was found by police with a girlfriend at a Greensboro park at lunchtime yesterday.
There's about, I'd say about half a dozen uniform and plain clothes, and they're outside the rotunda, seem to have it more or less half surrounded, I guess, to a certain extent.
He was arrested without incident and taken to the Melbourne West Police Station, where he was questioned by homicide detectives.
Just to think that you're 100 metres away from a person to do something like that to another person was just shocking.
While police focus on the criminal investigation here in Melbourne, 14,000 kilometres away in Israel, Aia's family is preparing for her funeral with hope her body will be released on Monday.
It's not comfortable and not good at home. We're all feeling very down and very depressed from the incident.
We never ever believed that this can come to our own family. And now I feel it inside, and I don't wish to any family to go what we go through.
Those suffering the most, her mother and 3 sisters. The eldest, Roba, who was on the phone to the 21-year-old when she was attacked, released this statement to local media.
I heard her scream and then the conversation disconnected, and on my end, the FaceTime disconnected.
A horrific moment, leaving an everlasting pain. Tegan Dolling, 7 News.
As her family in Israel awaits the return of her body, Aia's father has been overwhelmed by the support here in Melbourne. He was among thousands who attended a vigil in her honour last night, which started at Parliament House and ended where Aia's life was taken.
In a sea of strangers, Saeed Massaraweh is comforted by thousands of friends.
I want to appreciate all the people here, all the community, everyone, one by one. This is really helpful and support us.
Aia's father had hoped to travel to Melbourne this month to visit her for a holiday. Instead, he met with Victoria Police, government ministers and locals, offering their condolences after her brutal murder.
I guess I'm just here because I'm sick of this happening. It just happens all too often and we're frankly tired and angry.
3 days since her body was found, Melburnians gathered to pay their respects before boarding the 86 tram to retrace her final steps. As night fell, they journeyed through the northern suburbs, alighting at Bundoora for a last goodbye to a woman they never knew and will now never forget.
It's just a time to be closer and get closer together and appreciate that we're still here. You know?
I had a little hopeful moment standing there thinking maybe this will help create a bit of a shift.
By morning, the tributes had all but tripled. Prime Minister Scott Morrison, his wife and daughters among those who came to visit.
I'm going to be meeting with her father. The words will fail me, I'm sure, as one father to another.
Sadly, Aiia Massaraweh's family aren't alone in their grief. Jill Ma's widower Tom understands their pain and has taken to Twitter to call for an end to violence against women. I am so thoroughly sick to my stomach of men murdering women. The human cost of male violence is staggering. The incalculable social trauma and human misery it engenders is soul-destroying. Its weight is intolerable. And now, 3 days on, the memorial to Aiia here in Bundoora continues to grow. There's been a steady stream of mourners this afternoon, and tomorrow they'll gather here again at 2 o'clock for another vigil. Now the charges have been laid over Aia's death, her family is no doubt anxious to see her body returned to Israel. It's understood she will be given a Muslim burial, which, according to tradition, should take place as soon as possible after a person passes. Blake?
Jodie Lee in Bundoora, thank you.
Good evening. 28 hours after being arrested, Cody Herman has faced court charged with the rape and murder of international student Aiia. The accused said just one word as he appeared before the magistrate for barely more than a minute. Carrie-Anne Greenbank reports.
With his eyes closed, head down and wearing a blue forensic suit, 20-year-old Cody Herman arrived at court. After being questioned overnight, the Greensboro man was this afternoon charged with the murder and rape of Israeli university student Aiia. Court documents describe him as homeless. Social media reveals an aspiring songwriter and rapper who yesterday morning was arrested by police in a coordinated strike on a suburban park. While forensic officers were trawling through this dilapidated Bundoora property known for housing squatters, detectives were questioning their murder suspect before officially laying charges this afternoon.
Everything that I've given up was for hip-hop.
When Magistrate John Doherty asked the accused if he understood the charges he's now facing, the 20-year-old stood in the dock, said a quiet yes, before sitting down again and hanging his head for the rest of the court appearance. No family members were in court as Herman was remanded in custody, an order made for him to undergo a mental health assessment. He'll return to face the magistrate on Monday. Carrie-Anne Greenbank, 9 News.
Aia's father, meantime, has wept among a crowd of hundreds at a candlelit vigil on the steps of State Parliament. Mourners retrace the 21-year-old steps on the night she was killed, demanding the right for every woman to safely walk home. Mark Santomartino reports.
Handed bouquets of his daughter's favourite flower, Saeed Masawe wiped away tears sitting among a crowd of hundreds on the steps of Parliament, holding candles in memory of a young woman with an infectious smile, a love for others and animals.
Often she called me in China and she cared more about the dog. This is Aiia.
Aia's potential as a positive 21-year-old international student reduced to a picture among flowers, a silent symbol of outrage against unprovoked sexual violence against women like Jill Maher, Marsha Vukotic and Eurydice Dixon before her.
Yet again, we're here having a vigil like this. When is this going to stop?
Melbourne is known as a safe city, and this is embarrassing everybody.
A show of support fighting to right the worst first impression Melbourne can leave on a father.
From what I pass, is not safe. Because I lose my daughter, is not good, my feeling. I tell you the truth, is not good.
Flowers in hand, dozens walked from Parliament to Bourke Street, catching the same number 86 tram Aiia did on the night she died. Following her footsteps, they walked the 50 metres from Aia's Plenty Road stop to the bushes where her body was found. White balloons lit by the glow of candles at the head of a growing memorial.
People gathered at the tram stops and did little vigils at tram stops along the way.
This afternoon, Prime Minister Scott Morrison and his family visited the very same spot, placing their own tribute before meeting Aia's family.
Later today, I'm going to be meeting with her father. The words will fail me, I'm sure.
Aia's father will leave Melbourne as soon as he's allowed to take her body back to Israel, as the second innocent woman to be allegedly killed walking home through the streets of Melbourne in little over 6 months. Those who've come to mourn hope Aia's unjustifiable death can serve as a breaking point.
Things are getting better all the time, but I think it's one of those causes that's not just going to go away overnight.
It's on men to actually change themselves and become better and hold each other accountable.
It's not fair that I can't feel safe walking around at night, so yeah, we all should feel safe.
Another vigil will be held at the Bundoora Shrine tomorrow afternoon. Mark Santomartino, 9 News.